Feeling the winter blues? In today's episode, we're diving into seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, and creating a survival guide for parents and families. Join us as we explore ways to tackle low moods, boost energy, and create a cozy haven against cabin fever. Kenzie Evans and I share simple ways to help you create brighter, happier days despite the dreary weather. Let's get started. Hey parents, welcome to Fulfillment Therapy. Do you want to raise your kids better and have a stronger marriage? Are you up late at night researching marriage and parenting tools and self-care tips? Do you start each day hoping for deeper connections and less chaos, but it ends with family arguments and going 12 different directions again? My name's Kendra, wife, mom, therapist, and growth enthusiast. It wasn't until I discovered how to fulfill my unmet needs that I was finally able to show up as my best self as a spouse and parent. I realized that by meeting my needs, I could more fully meet the needs of my family with more energy and less resentment. In this podcast, I teach parents skills like boundary setting, prioritizing personal needs, communication, and claiming ownership. Just like my clients, you'll be shocked by the improvement in your marriage, parenting, and personal life when you focus on fulfilling your important unmet needs. Ready to prioritize yourself so you can quit mentally throat punching people? Then grab those earbuds and head outside, and let's rock and talk. The next part is really just our personal experience. Like, it's so easy to just talk about it, this elusive thing out there that other people experience. And we've talked about it a little bit ourselves. Maybe the listeners haven't recognized it in themselves and they're like, okay, maybe this sounds more like me. But another part of that is maybe some of them have teens. Like, I have teenagers now and they don't recognize it in themselves. I'm sure people might be wondering, what does that look like in your life? And what do you do about it? Or what do you do for your kids or your sister or your husband that's struggling with it?
Well, I'd love to get your insight because I feel like you have so much wisdom around this. I feel like, as I was telling you, in college, that was really the first experience that I was like, oh, I think I might have SAD. Yeah. And like you were saying, these are the symptoms, right? So you have anxiety, depression. And I think for me, what I realized that really was the kicker was this chronic fatigue, just so tired. And I just wanted to like curl up in my bed and sleep it all away. Yeah. And to me, I was like, oh, I'm just tired. But it's not normal, right? Like when you have life outside and there you can create this exciting existence to want to sleep and constantly sleep. So that exhaustion, I think, was huge for me. I bet I had some depression too, but I didn't realize.
Oh, yeah.
How would you tell someone, help them to see that maybe depression or anxiety, like that might be something that they're dealing with? Because I think there is a lot of shame, even though we're getting better around mental illness and things like that. There's still so much shame around having depression or anxiety. So it's almost like we want to avoid seeing it in ourselves.
Yeah.
What are those things that maybe go undetected, like you were saying, that we could be better aware of in ourselves and others? You know, like for me, the chronic fatigue and exhaustion.
I'm going to speak personally and then also through what my clients have talked about as well and family members. It is just some of these things that we already talked about in the beginning, like low mood, low energy, sleep pattern changes, appetite changes, just a lot of the really standard ones that go, again, very similar hand in hand as especially depression. When you used to be interested in certain activities and you're not anymore, or it's diminished quite a bit. For example, I love going to the gym and that's been harder lately, so much harder. I love podcasting and I love my online business, doing all of those things. Lately, I feel like I'm walking through mud to do everything. Like it feels so much harder. And again, there's layers to that. My kids are home and it's cloudy out and my diet is poor and I'm probably deficient in vitamin D. There's layer upon layer to that, right? And we're just hitting some of those.
So just understanding feeling sluggish, having a lack of motivation, feeling disinterested in activities that you really know you love and enjoy. I notice that. I feel like too, if you notice things about your personality, like for me, I'm not normally super irritable.
I was just going to say that. That's a huge one. Right?
Yeah. Like I noticed that, speaking of thoughts and things like that, challenging your thoughts, it would be like, oh my gosh, like, why are they doing this to intentionally bother me? Yeah. And then if you like really can take a step back and be like, okay, that's not their intention, right?
If you feel like you want to throat punch people more, there might be something a little bit off. Like,
right.
Are you visualizing throat punching, especially your spouse, maybe a little more? I mean, love them, right?
It's whatever person comes to your mind, no judgment.
Right.
But
not that I've ever experienced that.
Never. No, but I remember that. Or, okay, for me too, changes in sleep patterns.
Oh, you have had that?
I have. I remember, speaking of like my college experience, I remember staying up. I became this crazy night owl, but I say that I'm normally pretty, when I'm on top of things and I'm in a routine, I go to bed about 10 and then my body naturally wants to wake up about 6:30.
Yeah.
But when I start feeling these symptoms, my body stays up later. I have a harder time falling asleep. And then I want to sleep in later. Yeah. And I think that's a big part of the irritability and things. It's all like you were saying, the snowball effect. But I definitely noticed that staying up later and wanting to sleep in later too.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I think I agree with that. Also for me personally, and again, clients, hopelessness. And that can be part of the winter right now. Well, actually, you speak to this with Costa Rica, but it feels eternal. Like this is the part where I'm like, and it has been relatively mild and still, it's not even the cold for me. It's the gray.
The landscape, the death. It does. It feels, I remember telling my mom that I'm like, it feels like a black and white picture. Like you're living in this black and white landscape. So I think if you're aware of that, I do love living in Costa Rica for that reason, because it's so colorful, right? Absolutely. Even how they paint their house. I'm looking at your mom's house and it's so beautiful. And this bright yellow, it already feels happier in here because it's
that's
bright.
All the birds outside.
Yes, the chickens. Guys,
there's hundreds out there.
But like I think being aware of that though, that this is hard for me, and I don't love the cold. It's hard for me. Yeah. So finding something that you enjoy and giving that to yourself as a gift, I think is really important. So trying something new.
Yeah, like ice skating, or I really like snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, pickleball. And obviously that's going to be, those sports might be different. Obviously you're not going to be snowshoeing in Costa Rica.
Right. Or even finding something indoor, if it's painting or lots of people are doing these really cute, like crocheting and stuff. Have you seen those cute, like they make little animals and then they sew them?
I have this weird thing with crocheting and knitting, but I only do really weird things to make people laugh.
That sounds like a perfect thing to combat
Actually,
sad.
that's true. I never really thought about that, but yes.
So Kendra, I think that you're gonna
something.
Yeah, you knew.
You might as well pick up pranking while you're at it, because that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Combine something you love with a prank. You can't go wrong.
Oh, that did remind me. It sounds like I'm making a plug, but I'm actually totally serious. How I get through this bleak grayness for the next few months is I plan something to look forward to. And when you're talking about Costa Rica, I was like, yeah, you should plan a trip to Costa Rica. I'm like,
you should plan a trip to Costa Rica. I
am doing a retreat to Costa Rica. And Kenzie and I will be there. So
we will
come to Costa Rica with us.
You should plug that, guys. I'm serious. You should come to Costa Rica. It is beautiful. And I try to convince everyone to move there. So Kendra's just giving you an opportunity to come and see the beauty for yourself.
And then you'll probably want to move there, especially when Kenzie convinces you to also move there. You were really close. Well, you convinced me. You didn't convince my kids. You're going to have to work on that. You asked about the physical symptoms and different things. Personally, for me, I try to remember it almost like animals hibernating, they're not going to just think they're this terrible person for hibernating, but recognizing that this is a short stage and that it's okay to slow down. And it's often a gift to slow down, to get intentional. This is a time for reflection and pondering and slowing to consider what you want moving forward before spring comes. Like,
I love that.
What is this going to look like? What vision do I want to create? What reality do I want to create? So I spend my time, this time right now, I create our family photo book from the previous year. So I collect our photos on Google Photos, and then I put it at Walmart, and they make books, or all these different Shutterfly, all these things.
I think even Google Photos has one now.
Yeah. So I just print that out every year, and that also helps my family remember all the good things that we've done, all the gains, all the growth in the past year. And I love it. It's this big bonding thing that we do. And it helps to look through those photos and be like, oh yeah, there's been so many good things in this dreary wasteland right now that's happened. So I do that. And then I print off the journal that I've been working on. And I also get a new planner, and mine is a goal planner. It's a lot of exploration exercises, like in the beginning of the planner, where you reevaluate, what do I want for this coming year? For me, it's not so much about goals as, has my vision changed a little bit? Are there other things that I want? Is there a direction that I feel like I want to go to become my best self, my higher self? It doesn't have to be this accelerated, big, crazy thing, but I start to visualize that more. So I'm doing, and I'm still being productive in a sense. It's a slower paced productivity. It's more like sitting and getting cozy by the heater or the fireplace, and it's doing it with your family in tow, and it's it's something else instead of like go.
Yeah, no, I love that. As you were talking, I was like, you can do this however you want it to be too. Like this is something you can ponder on these things through whatever activity you're working on, right? So if you're a go-getter and you're still going, you can be pondering in your mind the goals that you want to work on, or the person you want to become, or you can be calm and sitting and like, let me just tell you right now, guys, we're just like cuddled up in blankets, also talking. I know. So it's like, you can do that. Like, here we are trying. Well, for me, it's more new. Kendra's you're more professional, proficient at podcasting.
You're amazing. Now you are such a natural girl.
Oh, you. But look at this. Like, look at us. We're just sitting here cozied up in some blankets.
I love it.
Trying something new. So it can be as simple as just doing something new in a comfortable state and pushing yourself, but also enjoying it while you're doing it. So it doesn't have to be this punishment, right?
You're right. And I'm so glad you spoke to that. It still feels hard many days to even just do journal, the photo book. So does that mean I just like, no, dang it, you better get to it, or I'm going to mentally slap you? No, I step back for a minute. Or
if it feels like a punishment,
a week, whatever.
Don't punish yourself. Have it be a gift, because that is what you want.
Before I love this.
I love the gift. Because it can still be hard. A gift can still be something difficult that you're doing. But when it starts to feel like you hate it and you're like, just not wanting to do it at all, then that's, like you're saying, I think that's when you reassess, reevaluate, and step back and give yourself that space to be like, I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do. So is this something that I really want to do still?
Well, and can I be the devil's advocate for you for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure a listener right now is like, well, I never want to go to the gym. Tell me, what would you say?
Okay. Well, you don't have to go to the gym. What sounds more exciting? Do you like the idea of pickleball? Do you like the idea of doing yoga in your house? Do you like the idea of dancing? There are so many things that you can do. I think that sometimes we limit, okay, health is going to a gym every day at 8:00, whatever. And instead, and maybe that's still the thing that you love, but you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to the gym. And then I think that gives you permission to be like, but do I want to?
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's the important thing of changing should to could. I could. Like, it is a choice, whatever you're doing. And it's not too often that I get up at 4:30 in the morning and I'm like, woohoo! I am going to the gym. I'm so happy. But I can almost say never. leave the gym thinking, oh, I wish
That
I
was the
wouldn't have
worst.
gone. Yeah, like I just feel pumped when I leave. There are some activities where there's this mental hurdle you have to get through, and honestly, it's usually like 5 minutes. It's like doing the dishes, right? You're like, you hate it for minutes leading up and the first 2 minutes, and then you're like, okay, I've got this.
Right. Well, and I think there's a difference between pushing yourself to do something you really do love versus like, I have to do this to be good enough, to be fit enough, because it's one is a shame mindset and one is still a gift mindset, right?
That's
like,
true.
like, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, then I'm not going to weigh the weight that I want to, or I'm going to lose my streak, or it's like still a punishment mindset. Whereas like yours, it's like, oh man, I'm really tired and I want to sleep still. But I really know that adrenaline rush, that the thrill that I get after I finish a workout, I love that. So this sucks right now, but I really want to give that to myself, right? Like, it's still, if it's coming from a punishment mindset, it's not that you'll never get to a gift mindset, but I do think taking a step back and reassessing is really important, because it takes a toll on your mental health, you know?
Absolutely.
So I don't know. It's not that you don't do difficult things, but I do think mindset is such a huge part of our success and our joy in the things that we do. So if it's coming from a punishment place, then I think it's worth not going to the gym for a few months as you figure out, like
mixing it up, however.
Like I do. Oh, I actually do love going to the gym, and I missed it. So now I'm going to start going again. And you have that.
That reminded me of this exercise that I did recently. I talked about it I don't know if it's the last episode or one or two before, doing an audit of the things that you want more of this coming year. And when I went through every week of my planner and I did that audit, I started to recognize a pattern of like, oh, I really enjoyed those things. And one of the things, very simply, was I like being underwater. It's so peaceful. The moment I pop my head up, it's like the world comes back in. Not all the listeners are part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but we are. It's almost like that temple feeling, or that peaceful place, whatever it is. And there's a few different things in our lives that can bring that. So maybe right now, as you're talking, it reminded me of that. Yeah, maybe it's not so much those traditional workouts, but maybe it's doing laps underwater, or maybe it's
going for a walk.
Yeah, something simple. It doesn't have to be that big thing.
Playing with your kids, I think changing your mindset around, rather than this prescriptive check the boxes way of living, instead being like, no, my body needs activity. So how can that look different for me right now? And giving ourselves that space and flexibility. But it's hard when I think we love, at least, okay, I should speak for myself. I love measuring. I love check boxes. I love to be able to like measure where I've been to where I am now. And so it's hard to be like, well, I played with my kids for 15 minutes playing soccer or whatever, because it's not as measurable. But I think that is, for me, I feel like that's been better for me, and it's relational building too. So
there's a time and place for both of them. I often think about that too, because I'm all about like, I like to see gains. I like to cross that thing off the list. But as long as I'm not like that Pharisee attitude, looking beyond the mark, I have to reevaluate. And I think that's what life is about, like constantly reevaluating. That's where wisdom comes.
Right. Like, let's not get obsessive about the checklist and remember what the checklist is actually for.
Right. And that's why I like looking at the wins, because you're like, oh, like there is growth. There is purpose to this. It's not, did I go do these 12 things this week? Did I,
like, it's not solely about the wins. It's a congratulation. You're looking at the wins to be able to say, good job. Look how far you've come. But you're not looking to the future being like, you have to do this. The wins are the only thing that matter. No, because those will come, right? As we just continue to work and plug along. But I love that. The Pharisaical mindset versus just being in the moment.
Yeah, I go back to that a lot. Yeah, so I know we've kind of hit a lot of this here, but what would you say that you would want listeners to remember about SAD, or even just about this season of life right now, this time of year, that you feel like maybe has helped you or that you want to remember yourself personally?
Well, okay, something that you had mentioned was first removing the shame, allowing things to be as they are, and recognizing that we're constantly wanting to learn and grow. So what's happening is information for us to learn more about ourselves, to learn more about others, to learn more about our circumstances. I think just allowing that to be, allowing the discomfort, allowing all of those feelings and emotions that are coming up and removing that shame. And then what I really loved that you just said was kind of auditing your life and using your own experiences, your own life as an example to tell you what the things that you love, the things that you enjoy, and giving that to yourself going forward in the future. I really would love to do that for myself. So I think that's something, those are the things I want to remember, removing the shame and learning for myself the things that I love and implementing that going forward.
Oh, I love that. I think that will speak to a lot of people. And as you were talking, that reminded me too, going back to, okay, what about those other loved ones? Maybe it's not just us. And remembering that how we are responding is how our children learn, or even friends, loved ones. And we can help others have that light shine. It doesn't have to be by overperforming. It doesn't have to be this or that, but it can be, again, just going back to that grace for ourselves, that grace for others, and just allowing there to be space to approach it however it feels right for us, whether that's intuition, following the spirit, all those different things. Like what feels authentic and right for you right now, even in this gray space. It's hard. It's okay. And that's part of this earthly experience. Take the time to just be still and learn.
I love that. That's perfect.
Well, thank you, Kenzie, so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Really wish we could do this all the time, but I kind of feel like you might be going back to Costa Rica unless I can convince you to stay.
Maybe if it was summer. Speaking of sad.
Maybe not the best time to convince you to stay.
I mean, come to Costa Rica? Everybody?
I think
all of you?
I can hop on that train.
Yeah, you're coming.
Yeah, I am.
Now we just need to hear about,
I feel like we're going to get at least 5 people to sign up after this. They're going to recognize.
Come on, guys. It would be so fun. You won't have sad. Exactly. That's true.
It will be happy.
We can promise that. Yeah.
Well, thank you again. And we will see you back here, maybe not in person next time, but very much virtually.
Not as fun virtually, but
it really is.
You know what? I'll take it though, because I just like getting all the time I can get with you. So yes.
Every time we're together, I'm always like, oh, it's just that simple, easy, effortless back and forth. This is beautiful.
It's so fun. It's so easy. Guys, Kendra, she's the best.
Amen. Kenzie too. All right, my listeners, you have a fantastic weekend, whatever it is.
Whenever you're listening.
Whenever you're listening. And we will see you back here soon.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed the episodes, my friends. Just a quick reminder that January 29th, so that is in 3 weeks, I'm doing a live 1-hour workshop on refueling parents by crafting a 30-day winter reset blueprint. So if you're wondering what I'm like in real time, you don't have much experience with me, now is your chance to come and see for free. Again, this is for improving winter blues, just like I talked about today, with a 1-month parent makeover blueprint. I'm doing this because I've watched clients, family members, and myself flounder during January and February. I know how to help people through this. Today is just a taste of what we can do, but we're going to break it down into actionable steps. Whatever stage of life you are in, this will help you combat that winter slump. Go to fulfillmenttherapy.org and sign up for free. Secure your spot now and get some amazing resources like a workbook and some giveaways and lots of other stuff. It's only 1 hour of your life that will have massive gains. And don't forget to look into our Costa Rican retreat. There are still some spots available. And put in the promo code SAVE500 to secure that original pricing. Remember, our retreat offers 2 to 3 times more than any other retreats out there. It has an amazing location, professional training, and is still one of the most affordable options because of all of the things that it offers, like food and lodging and top-notch excursions, professional resources and training, personal and family transformation, and so much more. Sign up and come connect with people like me and Kenzie and Liz and others you've heard on the podcast. It's going to be incredible. As always, check out the show notes for links on where you can find me, and we will see you back here soon on more ways to improve personal growth and build stronger families. Until then. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, chances are someone else would too. Would you take 30 seconds to share this with a friend who's looking for greater family fulfillment? And while you're sharing, tell me what you think about the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It refuels me when I hear this podcast is helping you. No matter what your house or your hair looks like, I'll meet you back here every Monday and Thursday morning for more episodes. Until then.